All right, let's get right into it. If you're getting ready for the IELTS, you've probably been wrestling with one huge question. Should I take the computer test or the paper test? Well, today we're going to get you that answer.
Right off the bat, let's get this one thing crystal clear. The test itself, it's identical. The way it's scored, identical. Your final band score means the exact same thing to everyone. But the actual experience of taking the test, oh, that is a whole different story.
And this is it, right? This is the question on everyone's mind. You want to know which one is the path of least resistance to getting the score you need. And you know what? That's a totally logical question to ask.
But here's the thing. It's completely the wrong question. In fact, asking which one is easier can actually lead you down a path that ends up hurting your score. We need to look at this in a totally new way.
So this is the most important takeaway of this entire explainer. The choice isn't about the test, it's about you. The right decision comes down to your skills, your habits, and frankly, how your brain operates when that clock is ticking.
Okay, so let's set a quick baseline. Computer-based means you're at a test center doing the listening, reading, and writing sections on a computer. Paper-based is the classic way: question booklet, pencil, and an answer sheet. And one really important thing, for both versions, the speaking test is still done face-to-face with a real live human examiner.
And let's be super clear on what does not change. The types of questions, the level of difficulty, the way it's scored, and whether or not universities accept it, all of that is 100% identical. No school or immigration office prefers one over the other. They are equal.
So if all that stuff is the same, where do the differences actually kick in? Well, let's dive in and break it down section by section, because this is where you'll start to see which one feels like it was made for you.
First up, the listening section. On the computer, you get your own set of headphones, which is great for blocking out distractions and getting clear audio. You type your answers right into the boxes as you listen. With paper, you're listening to speakers in a room, and you jot your answers down on the question paper. Then you get an extra 10 minutes at the very end to transfer all those answers to your official answer sheet.
So here's the reality check on that. That 10-minute transfer time on the paper test sounds great, but it's also a trap where spelling mistakes in panic can happen. If you're someone who gets flustered under pressure, just typing your answer once directly into the computer is probably the much safer bet.
Now for reading. This one really just comes down to how you like to interact with a long piece of text. On the computer, you're scrolling through passages on one side of the screen and answering questions on the other. You can highlight text digitally. With paper, you've got the booklet in front of you. You can flip pages, underline, circle, draw arrows. You can mark it up any way you want.
The takeaway here is pretty simple, really. If your strategy depends on making lots of notes and physically mapping out the text to find answers, the paper-based test is just going to feel way more natural and comfortable for you. Okay, we've talked about some important distinctions, but let's be real. When it comes to the writing section, this is the absolute game changer. This is where the choice you make can have a massive impact. On the computer, you type. That means editing is a dream. You can cut, copy, paste, delete entire sentences, and restructure paragraphs cleanly. Plus, you have an automatic word counter on the screen. On paper, you're handwriting. And let's be honest, if you need to make big changes, it can get really messy, and you're left guessing your word count.
So this is where you need to have a very honest conversation with yourself. Are you a fast typist? Do you naturally organize your thoughts by writing, then rewriting and moving things around? If the answer is yes,
then the computer-based test gives you a huge advantage in speed, neatness, and efficiency.
And hey, let's not forget the practical stuff, the logistics. With the computer test, you get your results back in just 3 to 5 days. For the paper test, you're waiting 13 days. Plus, there are way more computer-based test dates available. So if you're on a tight deadline for a university application, this alone might make the decision for you. All right, now that we know the real differences, let's just quickly blow up a few common myths that are floating around. Believing these can seriously lead you to make the wrong choice.
Myth number 1. The computer test is easier. Nope. 100% false. The questions are pulled from the exact same pool of questions. The difficulty is identical. Period.
How about this one? Universities prefer the paper test. Again, totally false. Both formats are equally respected and accepted everywhere. They see the score, not the format.
Some people think that just because an essay is typed, it automatically gets a higher score. That's not how it works at all. As long as your handwriting is legible, the examiner is scoring your ideas and your language, not your penmanship. And finally, there's this weird idea that older students should stick to paper. Look, this has nothing to do with age and everything to do with your personal skill set. Your comfort with a keyboard is the only thing that matters, not the year you were born.
So we've broken it all down, we've busted the myths. Now let's put it all together into a simple, straightforward guide to help you make the right strategic choice for you. So, you should lean towards the computer-based test if you type faster than you write, if you absolutely need your results in a hurry, if you love the ability to edit your writing cleanly, and if you're just generally comfortable reading and working on a screen. On the flip side, the classic paper-based test is probably your best friend if your handwriting is clear and fast, if your reading strategy relies on underlining and making notes on the page, or if you just know that staring at a computer screen for nearly 3 hours will tire you out. And this brings us right back to that central idea. You see, the people who get the really high scores, they're not asking which test is better. They're asking a much smarter question. Which test will allow me to perform at my absolute best?
So, here's what I want you to take away from all this. Your goal is to choose the format, the interface that becomes invisible. It should feel so natural that you forget it's even there. Because when the tool disappears, all the examiner is left with is your English. And that is how you get your best possible score.